Hello, you turkeys. We're getting your Patriots Giants Six Rings podcast preview in nice and early in anticipation of what we hope is a tremendous Thanksgiving for one and all in Pats Nation and beyond in the wide world of NFL fandom. That's right. On Monday night, in just a few days, the world, ESPN, and more gets to finally bear witness to the excellence that is the 2025 Patriots and young Drake Maye. But could the New York Football Giants, who have the inverse of the New England Patriots record at 2-10, could they be a dangerous team laying in the weeds? Could this finally be the letdown? Is this the trap game? And do we even know who their defensive coordinator or starting quarterback is? Mego and I kick things off with the Patriots Six Rings preview. And then in just a few moments, we'll be joined from our sister station by the co-host of One Giant Step, the New York Giants podcast, and a host and producer of their afternoon show, Evan and Tiki, the great Sean Morash. We got Morash. We got Fitzy. We got Mego. We got it all on the Six Rings and Football Things Giants at Pats Monday night preview. Here we go.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. It's all about winning, all right? Winning on three. 1, 2, 3, win!
Celebrating the heroes of Foxborough's past.
And with a good block. Look at Grover. All the way. Watch the block of number 73, John Hanna.
The champions of the dynastic era.
Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
The Patriots of tomorrow. We're
going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to earn the right to be here every single day.
And the fans whose faith never wavers. This is Six Rings and Football Things.
About two points. And I know folks have said that about Jackson Dart a little bit too. Of maybe there's a little bit of how do you sort of exploit that as a defender?
Really just getting to him, like hitting his blind spots, like his backside. Like I feel like at times he's so caught up in making the right play, or getting so caught up in his routes downfield, he just forgets about somewhat of who's rushing him, if that makes sense. Like what I mean by poise, it could be a bad thing, could be a good thing, but what I mean by poise is that he takes his time, that he makes the right reads, and he tries to make the right play. It can also bite you in the butt at a certain amount of times if you got edge rushers coming and you're not really too cognitive of where they are.
Will Drake Maye be cognitive as to where the edge rushers are on Monday night? This being a primary concern with Jared Wilson and Will Campbell out for at least the Giants game following the Cincinnati game, which the Patriots won 26-20, as you guys are full well aware. And now the left side of the line, the rookie side of the line, down and out, possibly Ben Brown, and of course, Mego's pal, Vidarian Lowe, probably subbing in for the Patriots. The left side of the line and the Giants pass rush, a significant concern as we start steering into Giants and Patriots. Hello, everybody. Your old pal, Nick Fitzy Stevens here alongside Mego, Megan Onolini from WEEI.com and the Six Rings podcast here. And we want to get into this one. Mego, I don't feel like the Fool's Gold crowd had the week that I thought they were going to try to have following Sunday's game. But I do feel like, if nothing else, like what we heard there from Giants edge rusher Brian Burns is kind of true. Like Drake Maye's pocket presence is tremendous, and his growth and maturity this year meteoric, like well beyond what any of us would have ever predicted, hoped for, or comprehended. But when you've got new guys subbing in, well, they're not new because they played on the Patriots last year, but the left side of your line is now changed, and Drake's going to have to deal with a pretty good pass rush from a dangerous team that is playing with house money. And you saw the game last week. We don't know who's going to play quarterback. Maybe Sean Morash will tell us in a moment, but they're running trick plays. They're blitzing all over the place. Like the Giants are just kind of playing like whatever. Well, if we can win, great. If nothing else, it's a football game. I don't know. This one, I don't have a read on this one yet, and I am a little worried that they're going to get after Drake and make his first ever Monday Night Football experience in his December one he may not want to remember.
There are definitely a few things that are working against the Patriots in this matchup, just outside of it being the team that it is. I thought it was interesting watching the Patriots last week come off of kind of a funky schedule in that they had a 10-day layoff. and Drake really looking out of rhythm. I mean, the worst that he's looked this whole season in that first quarter. And if to me looked like more mental than anything else. And it sounds silly because you think like, oh, mini buy, 10 days off. That's what all these guys are craving at this point, like just to get away and relax and reset and get their bodies right. And instead it looked like the offense was totally out of rhythm.
Mhm.
And so they have a funky week again this week with the Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday, which they'll take the day off, and then having practice or a walkthrough on Saturday, and then Sunday, that acting as the usual Saturday, and then Monday night football. Like it sounds like a small thing, but I think for a team that's rolling with the momentum that they are, that is so locked in, we've seen it make a little bit of a difference. The other thing that I'd say is that sounds like a cliche, but if anybody is playing with house money right now, it's the Giants.
Mhm.
Nobody expects anything from them. So
Exactly.
for them to be in the role of Monday Night Football in this really like I think of peak time of NFL football before the playoffs.
Mhm.
Weather is really turning cold. Thanksgiving has passed by. Everybody's fighting to be in these different spots and for the seating and to get the bye or just to get in. Now, the Giants aren't in that position, but I think that it makes them a frisky, dangerous team.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. You're already on your interim head coach, which means that your interim head coach is your offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, after they got rid of Brian Daboll. Now you're going to be on an interim defensive
Which
coordinator after they fired their guy after 4 of the most
Fitzy,
cataclysmic collapses in history. Yes.
you can't write this, right? That the
No.
Giants, after firing Brian Daboll, pivot to a guy named Kafka? Come on.
It is pretty
It's for my English majors out there. I married an English major. Existentialism that has hit the New York Giants
if
will never
only
be stopped.
if only the defensive coordinator were either named Marx or Satra, or
Like it's
like it would just be it would be too
Camus.
perfect. Camus. Exactly. Oh, here comes Camus under center, third string quarterback for the Giants. Yeah, we don't know who's going to be playing quarterback. Will Jackson Dart be back? Personally, I wouldn't rush him back, considering that he was in the protocol. He's missed a couple of games, but he is your long-term, he is likely your long-term answer for the Giants, or so they believe now. Whereas you've got famous Jameis Winston for just such an occasion. And stop me if you've heard this before, but once again, he's made whatever team he's starting for fun to watch. Last week, I had the quad box on when I was watching Pat's Bengals, and I kept wanting to all right, I'm going to stop watching this one for a sec and just go over to Giants Lions because Jameis is running a flea flicker. Then Jameis gives the ball to Olszewski, who throws a pass to Jameis, and then bulldozes a cornerback and gets in. The Giants are wilding right now, and they should just be playing and living out loud like they don't care because they just want to play football games, see if they can develop a couple of guys, and will Wan'Dale Robinson get wildly overpaid in the offseason to pair up with Malik Neighbors next year? Like they could, and as people have noticed in our live chat as we record the latest Six Rings and football things, the Giants do have a pass rush.
Mhm.
And the Patriots offensive line is better in pass pro this year than last year. The run blocking is still a little sus. I think this is going to be a big test. And like you mentioned, I think Vrabel thought after they got the mini bye following the Jets game that maybe things sort of got thrown out of rhythm. And now you factor in, like you said, a holiday, an extra day. It's a night game, national gaze. You got Buck and Aikman on the call. It'll be on ABC and ESPN. Like, this is a big platform, a big showcase for Drake and the team. Is he an MVP candidate legitimately still, though Stafford seems to be pulling away? Are the Patriots worthy of being considered a contender in the AFC, if not maybe the number 1 seed? Like, I'm already getting a little anxious for them just thinking about it.
And I think especially the lessons that perhaps some of us from the outside have learned from that Cincinnati game and seeing them matched up against a historically bad defense and the offense really struggle out of the gate. Now, again, I don't know if that's like schedule related or something else. Like I still haven't been able to pinpoint one particular reason that the offense and that Drake in particular looked so out of rhythm to start that. But the pass rush is legit from the Giants. Overall, the defense isn't great, and their rush defense, again, is really bad. So
Mhm.
it's yet another week of looking at the Patriots and saying, are you going to be able to get your run going? Are you going to be able to get your run game going? And it's not something that we've seen with any kind of consistency. It's like you'll have a decent Ramondre game, and then that production kind of disappears, or they pivot back to the passing game because it's so dynamic and such a big threat to pull ahead from these teams that they're certainly better than. Or you have a huge Travion game followed by another game where he's very productive in the red zone, and then it disappears again. So especially with Vidarian Lowe and Ben Brown over there holding down the left side, I just don't know what to expect in terms of the run game against a defense that they should be able to run on.
Yeah, they should be able to run on them, and hopefully the run will set up the pass. But the problem is no one's averaging over more than 3.5 yards a carry. On the continuing, then look, we're all thrilled. Yes, it bears repeating once again. The Patriots are 10-2, first team in the NFL to 10 wins. They've won 9 in a row. They're undefeated on the road. Everything awesome. Drake May, Vrabel, Drake May. Yes, but the concerns that we're sort of like enumerating here are valid in that, like, Drake's QB rating the last couple of weeks has been a little less than it was maybe even earlier when they played, better teams. Unfortunately, there have been some picks the last couple of weeks. The Patriots red zone / goal to go rushing attack is as exciting as a banana for breakfast. Like, come on. The 6 tries and they can't punch it in from the 1. We got play action here, play action over there, Matt Collins penalty. Our boy Ramondre looked like he was, stuck in mud or recently had hip surgery. He looked a measure slower. Travion definitely looks like the more explosive back. Do you lean on him more, or, will Ramondre get up to speed? These are all very valid concerns. And the Patriots rush defense, you just gave up your first 100-yard rusher. Chase Brown's he's like a bulked up primetime Burkhead football player. I love him. The loss of Milton Williams is significant. Giardi, Curran, and others all said, like, this is like the last guy you wanted to lose at a time like this. And it didn't help matters that Gonzo freaking gave up an easy touchdown to Cincinnati's 4th-string receiver. Oh, now I'm getting all worked up again.
Yeah, and I don't want to go back. Like, there are certainly lessons to take away from Cincinnati. But I do think the bigger picture, if you want to look on the sunny side of things, is that Diana Rossini just had the latest report that it's expected that Will Campbell will miss at least 4 weeks and be put on IR. But it sounds like, hey, 4 weeks. If you told us that in the immediate aftermath of Sunday, we would all say, man, they really dodged a bullet if they can get him back for the playoffs. And Jared Wilson, I believe her wording was expected to be back much sooner than that. So a lot of people I see going like, oh my God, Vidarian Lowe again, Ben Brown again. This is just like last year. It's not like last year because, first of all, the rest of your line has been playing together and is much stronger than they have been last year. And these are guys who are filling in. They're not plan A, and they're certainly not like what you would want in a 1-game playoff scenario. But for these couple of weeks, can you patch it together? These guys are professionals. They're experienced. The coaching staff knows both of them very well. So I think that when you take all things into consideration, if you go 1-2 over these next 3 games, I don't think you should look at it as the sky is falling, especially when you consider the 2 opponents after the Giants.
Right. Like a best case scenario, very funny, by the way. Chris the Bearded, who's watching live on YouTube as we recorded 6 Rings right now. It's a common condition of the Pats fan to get worked up when talking Pats football. Truer things never spoken, Chris. Thanks for watching and listening, Bell. Jared Wilson, let's say with his high ankle sprain, he misses Monday. Then you've got the bye, which now seems like a very well-timed bye. Maybe he can come back for the game against Buffalo on Sunday, December 14th. That game, just for my benefit as well, is that game still up in the air as far as could it be flexed? Could CBS try to move that to
I gotta say, I'm really not sure. I'm not up on that.
I think you need 12 days. Can somebody get Mike Reese on the phone quick? Mike Reese, get the Reese line going. I think you need at least 12 days or maybe 10 days notice on that. I could see that one getting bumped to 4/25 because that's going to be a huge game. And if the Pats lose on Monday, have a hiccup, and Buffalo wins, they inch one step closer, we could then be talking about toggling for AFC East supremacy once again. I think sending Will Campbell to IR now makes the most sense. Get somebody in to take his spot. I know they signed someone off the Browns practice squad to the 53 yesterday to give him a tryout on the O-line. So there's, a lot of circumstances that are kind of up in the air right now. But give Jared Wilson a few weeks off, give Will Campbell up until playoff time, and just do the best you can. And on our program yesterday, Mego, on the Tuesday edition of WEEI Afternoons, we talked to Mark Schlereth, and he said the guy you're going to have to lean on the most is Josh McDaniels. Like, this is now when he's going to have to, I'll put a quarter in the football cliche jar, get in his bag and start coming up with quick passes and screens and, doing things to mitigate the time spent in the pocket, like Brian Burns was discussing at the start of the show, where Drake Maye could get exposed, where he could get hurt, all the things that he could possibly do to, get his most creative. You think, I have all the faith in the world in him. I've been excited. They brought him back since January. You think it's a Josh season where maybe we see a little more pop digs and the shorter get out routes?
Possibly. I do immediately think about, I want to say it was like the first series, if not the second series, when Vidarian Lowe was put in at left tackle after Will Campbell's injury, and what looked like it was supposed to be a screen pass he got totally wrecked on and ended up on his rear end on the field. And I was like, I don't know if the screen game is maybe the fail safe that we all think it's going to be. So it's just a way of saying that there's no easy solution. There's no, okay, Josh can just look and find all the answers by working around the left side of the line or getting the ball out so quickly that you don't need protection. You're always going to need protection. And especially with the success that they've had with finding the deep ball and now having Kayshon Boutte back, you certainly don't want to see them have to abandon that track completely, right? So again, a lot of what we're going to see over the next couple of weeks, I think, is going to be patchwork around that protection. But there's going to be some serious bumps. I would expect some serious bumps in the offense over the next couple of weeks. And again, I don't think it's the sky is falling. I think it's just a reality of the circumstances and taking into account that this is hopefully very temporary.
Yeah, I mean, the days of just like a smooth takeoff, getting up to 35,000 feet and having a 3-hour seamless flight might be over. We'll see. The competition gets stiffer. Playoffs are in the future. And yeah, this is not just going to be Josh. It's going to be Travion. It's going to be the right side of the line. It's going to be Drake and his awareness, preventing the Brian Burnses of the world from getting in his biz. One last thing before we bring Sean in.
Yeah, I just because in the chat I see Jake Smith shout out saying, with the line in the shape it's in and going up against this abysmal run defense, I feel like Drake needs to be let out of the cage. Let him do what he does best, run and gun.
The old skip and rip.
Yeah, I would also caution against going back to Drake, taking off on these third downs and just trying to get them with his legs, though. Because one, I think the development that he's shown, and he's talked about it as staying a passer as long as possible and being able to throw on the run and see things develop as he's running is great. Two, if something happens to that kid, then your season is actually done.
Oh, if the Pastronaut is in for anything more than victory formation, then the season is over. And I know somebody who would love to see the season be over, or at least play the part of spoiler. Joining us now, all the way from the deep recesses of Giants Nation, just outside Meth Life Stadium, or as I like to call it, our sister station, WFAN, actually part of their afternoon show as well. And of course, the co-host of the One Giant Step podcast. I'm very excited to have him here with us on Six Rings and Football Things. I've been a fan of Evan and Tiki and all things WFAN for a long time. Ladies and gentle fans, the one, the only, Sean Morash. What up, Sean?
What's going on? Just to correct you, we call it over here the house that Tyree built. So that's what we
just making friends and lobbing grenades nice and early. That's the way it should be, my man. Thanks for joining us and making a little time. Let me just ask you first things first. Do you have any read on which way the Giants are going to go vis-a-vis? Are they going to maybe put Jackson Dart out there in harm's way, or are they going to play it safe considering he's the future under center and give us just one more chef's kiss of we outside, but we inside with my guy, famous Jameis?
So I pray to God we don't get any more Jameis, because how many times can you escape death with Jameis Winston? Look, here's the thing. Last week got really peculiar for the Giants because Jackson Dart was totally trending towards playing. And then something happened in the concussion protocol that I wasn't even sure, and I'm sure a lot of people in New York weren't even sure existed, which is a guy could look like he's progressing, but the team itself could like pause the concussion protocol process and not ask for the next step forward, which is what oddly happened last week on Friday for the New York Giants. So it felt like the Giants themselves were playing it 1 week safer as Dart was rapidly progressing through this progress. And probably to a man, they assumed they were going to go to Detroit and get demolished. And then a funny thing happened. Jameis kept them alive, and the defense actually showed up for the first time until the fourth quarter, where again they blew a lead. I think honestly, as we're progressing here, and we look at a general manager trying to save his job with 5 weeks left, an interim coach who we know doesn't have a chance to be a head coach, but is really trying to become the head coach to save his job. I would be pretty stunned if Jackson Dart is not the quarterback on Monday night.
Thanks for joining us, first of all, Sean.
Yes,
But
Megan, how
I'm
are you?
wondering how the news hit you, your perspective of them letting go Shane Bowen, who is a close friend of Mike Vrabel, and now you're seeing Mike Vrabel's team in Monday Night Football.
Yeah, so honestly, a little frustrated at the beginning of the year. Mike Vrabel didn't just take Shane Bowen back before the year started, and we didn't have to go through this.
Because
But-
our entire coaching staff is,
Yeah.
is we call them Vrabros.
Yeah,
It's just nothing but guys he's worked with before. He has built the most comfortable inner circle of any coach. But you know that the continuity has worked all season long.
It has, and at least the belief out of New York was that Vrabel had contacted trying to make that happen, and the Giants, I guess for optics' sake, because of everything that went poorly here with Wink Martindale and Brian Dable and the way that ended, for Brian Dable at the time to turn over and go to a third defensive coordinator in 3 years. Number one, who was going to be your candidate that was going to go with a coach on a hot seat, and number two, what a bad look that is for a head coach. But as was typical and as was Brian Dable's undoing, optics always do him in, and that is why he's without a job and why Shane Bowen's without a job. Look, Shane Bowen might be a smart defensive mind for certain teams. He did not know how to play to this defense's strengths at all. If you look at PFF, which, no offense, I hate at times, they will tell you the Giants blitz a lot. They don't. That's all based on 5-man fronts that send up. And he just wants to rely on his laurels. There's never stunts involved. There's, all this defensive front that we were promised. He played Dexter Lawrence off of nose tackle all year long. And while he's been out of shape, he didn't get to play to his strengths. It was a disaster. And you could start to hear the murmurs the last couple of weeks, especially guys that are the secondary, like Javon Holland. They laid enough groundwork, basically saying, talk to the coaches as to why they're playing a certain role that they hadn't played in the past. And it was a mess. It was a mess. And I'm very interested because the Giants didn't go with one of two guys on their staff this week that have defensive coordinator experience, and Andre Patterson and Marquand Manuel. Instead, they went with this young Charlie Bullen, an outside linebackers coach, who my guess is the reason they go with him is he's not going to do the same old. And I'm very interested to see if there's more disguised looks and more blitzes and more, trying to shake up Drake Maye coming New England's way. And maybe for once we see a defense that plays to its potential on paper.
Yeah, I mean, Patriots fans think New York Giants defense. And by the way, I'm with you as well. I feel like PFF is a website that if you want to go there just to validate your feelings, you'll find it. If not, all you do is just make the same noise the three letters make. And
I'm stealing that, Nick. That's good.
That's the least I can do for you, my friend. Please. Anything here. All IP is up for grabs in the land of six rings and Pat's Nation.
Yeah, I could do without the Red Sox hat on the stream, but neither here nor there. Enjoy Sonny Gray.
Yeah, I'm not. If he's our number 2 starter, I'm out. If he's our number 3 or 4, I'm in. But we'll take Pete Alonso gladly. Thank you so much.
By the way, take him.
Oh, you're not a fan?
I'm a Yankee fan, dude.
Oh,
Come
okay.
on.
Well, that's fine. Okay.
As
long as he doesn't go to the Yankees.
Let the Mets rot. Take everybody.
Yeah, sometimes the enemy of my enemy is my ally.
Exactly.
But I think back to the point I sidetracked myself from, which I'm really good at. I think Pats fans see the New York Giants front and they think NASCAR front. They think 4 guys getting after the quarterback and being able to wreak havoc on 5- and 6-man protections. And I know Abdul Carter has at times looked great, and then also at times it's been like, bro, are you even checked in?
Yep.
So Brian Burns, excellent. What do you think? What do you think the Giants will likely try to do with the new interim defensive coordinator, who, like Kafka, is kind of using this as audition tape to get work league wide in 2026 and beyond? And nothing would be nicer atop a Giants interim coach's LinkedIn page than, hey, we upset the Patriots on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, no doubt. So first of all, the injury front is going to be a puzzling question. This is what always gets dicey when we're on the content creation world and there's a Monday night game on Thanksgiving week. I mean, when is anybody in the bit like, so we don't know where this is going. Dexter Lawrence, a lot was made at the end of overtime. He was held out. He got banged up. They called it nicked up in that game. If Dexter Lawrence is totally fine and healthy to go, I think the initial setup is he hasn't played nose tackle all year. They've kind of slid him over gaps. I think that would be the first starter to kind of set up that NASCAR package. Kayvon Thibodeau has missed the last 2 weeks. Didn't even travel with the team last week. If he can't go, that hurts the idea of a NASCAR package. He's actually your best run defender of that group of edge rushers, which the Giant run defense, neither here nor there. I think the idea of an outside linebacker coach here, I've never seen those meetings. Obviously, we're not privy to them. I got to assume a lot of the reason you also pick him is his relationship with Burns and Abdul Carter, and knowing that for the rest of the year, those are going to be the two guys you got to lean into, and you got to keep them happy. You want to keep the first round pick happy, the guy who's chasing down Myles Garrett for the sack lead happy, and see what they want to do. But everything has just been the most basic. Line these two guys up on the edge, nothing creative, no stunt work. Just go try to beat man on man. And it works a lot of times for Brian Burns, and for Abdul Carter, it might work for quote unquote pressures, but he just doesn't get home enough to get the actual sack. I'm just looking for more creativity in terms of that pass rush front. And I think that's where it's going to start for Charlie Bullen. Would it help for him to, send a nickel corner? Like the Giants have Drew Phillips, who's a great tackler, sucks covering. Suddenly he stopped blitzing this year in the Shane Bowen. I would be expecting that kind of pass rush type of situation where you're just seeing a mixed bag. I don't think you fire Shane Bowen and don't choose to promote the two other veteran guys on that staff if you're expecting this defense to come out and do the same kind of deal. Last week, offensively, Mike Kafka got more aggressive. There's flea flickers. There's Jameis Winston fighting for footballs and catching passes. My guess is he's going to lean into the guy on the staff that's going to bring some of that stuff on the defensive front and not make it look like the same of what we've seen. So to be honest with you, I think that, what Patriot fans might be looking towards, I don't know that you can look towards anything the Giants have done and expect to see that. We can't expect that either. You may get it, and you may have us leading by 10 points and we again collapse because we're doing the same crap again. But I think it's a total wild card how different this defense looks, because nobody knows what who Charlie Bullen is, or where he came from, or what's going on here.
Sean, do you think even let's assume that you have most of the personnel available on the Giants that you described before. Let's just say in a perfect world, guys are at least able to go in Monday night.
Yeah.
And like Kayvon and Dexter Lawrence. Can you really be so dramatically different with the looks that you give with these stunts and disguises when you haven't done them all season long? You get an extra day, but you kind of lose a day with the Thanksgiving holiday.
No,
Can you really be that dramatically different? I understand like there's this gamesmanship of we don't know what the defense is going to look like, but will it be dressed up that differently that it will perplex the Patriots' protection?
Megan, look, you can obviously make a case of how dramatic can something look within a week. Absolutely, you could do that. Where I would lean towards hopefulness, at least from my enemy side here, is that the talent is there. It's not like they have, bags of dog crap going out there and playing. Like Brian Burns, Abdul Carter.
You had a 2,000-point lead against the Broncos, for God's sakes, with like 2 minutes. It's been there all year.
It's been there all year. Now, a funny thing happened along the way when the Giants led the Broncos in that game, in deep into the third quarter, and they were looking like the better defense on the field that day. Paulson Adebo, their number one corner, got hurt in that game late. From that point forward, the Broncos ended up scoring 33 straight points in the fourth quarter without him in there. The Giants' depth in the secondary had been rough. He was out he's not played every single game since. He got re-injured ahead of last week's game. All these games are blended together. The game before the Lions game, I'm forgetting who the hell they lost to. But when that happened, they still haven't had him. That has been dramatic. So you want to talk about what's happened. The Giant defense wasn't terrible before he left. That kind of became their house of cards. So when they're not doing all of that stuff, the disguises up front, which they haven't been, their secondary's been picked apart because it's been a trickle-down effect. They finally had Deonte Banks, their bust of a first-round pickup a couple years ago. He was inactive last week. That seemed to elevate the defense because he's been basically lazy all year. So how different can it look? Well, for starters, you want to assume everybody healthy. If Paulson Adebo's back this week, why would I not assume it looks like the first 6 weeks of the year where the defense was completely different? Now, that's more of a Giants problem, that their depth could be that terrible that one guy goes down and the whole house collapses from here on forward. But it can look dramatically different because we've seen it look dramatically different just by certain bodies actually being out there on a team with terrible depth.
Yeah, Patriots defense, last week in Diana Rossini's news and notes column, I think it was Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes said they hate playing a Mike Vrabel defense because they're fast, they're aggressive, they tackle ruthlessly, and they're often in nickel as well. And I think that's likely to remain the case the rest of the season. They've had the interim defensive coordinator assistant, Zach Kerr, the inside linebackers coach filling in as Terrell Williams has been battling prostate cancer, and I'm sure Vrabel has lent a hand as well. The defense has been great, but now losing our most valuable player on the 2025 defense to date, Milton Williams, immediately revealed flaws in the defense on all three levels. Like Chase Brown Chase Brown was like a hot knife through a stick of Irish butter last week. Like dude was doing things he wanted to do as well. And old man Flacco had some time to pass. And if he didn't basically FedEx a pass into the arms of Marcus Jones in the first half, one of the 10 worst pick sixes you'll ever see.
Believe me, as somebody that bet the Patriots, I'm aware.
I didn't like the Pats. I liked them on the money line, but not with the spread last week. But that game could have gone a different direction. And yet Gonzo giving up an easy one. I feel like sometimes the Patriots, these Pats sitting at 10-2, people must just think that they're a wrecking machine. I feel like sometimes they play up and or down to their competition. So,
but that goes with the talent, right? At least from the outside looking in, that was the major question. Was we know the coach is good. We thought the quarterback would take a step forward, but what is the rest of the Patriot roster? That goes with a coach, a really legitimate NFL coach, which we'd love to have coaching up to the ability. And that's, sometimes you play up and down from there. You take the wins and stash.
So what do we expect? We got Wan'Dale Robinson to worry about. He's playing for to get wildly overpaid.
No doubt. Yeah.
And
he's playing awesome.
Is it Tyrone Tracy? Is it
so
Singletary? What do we got?
So obviously the Giants had the legend of Cam Scatterbu growing earlier in the year, and then he got hurt versus the Eagles, which was devastating because
what was it called? Like the creatine connect? Like what did they call it?
They had a couple different names.
Jackson Dart and Scatterbu, the creatine Caucasians.
Yes, yes. The old wine picture, the exciting whites, has circulated a million ways. So Scatterbu was a ton of fun. Last year, Tyrone Tracy was like a calling card for Joe Shane's draft class. He was a 5th round running back out of Purdue, and he was awesome. And he had a little bit of a fumbling problem that he cleaned up. So he got hurt and separated his shoulder around week 2. And Cam Scatterbu just took off from there. And you could tell Tracy working his way back and was never on IR. Scatterbu was doing his thing, but he was still hurt. You would see him come to the sideline if you were at the games. He was hanging his shoulder. The last 2 weeks, man, Tyrone Tracy has looked back to the Tyrone Tracy of last year, which has coincided with Jameis Winston playing. So I'm fascinated now because the Giants have kind of put these puzzle pieces of injuries together. When Dart started to play, it was Scatterbu. Then Dart gets hurt now, and Tracy's taken over. So now we're really going to get the Tyrone Tracy, Jackson Dart offense for basically the first time all year. So I'm curious because Jackson Dart wasn't doing a lot of run plays under center. That was more of a Jameis Winston thing because Jackson Dart was more comfortable in the shotgun. So I want to see how they mold that all together. But Tyrone Tracy's healthy. He's fast. He's bursting through holes. I think he has, ironically, a lot of the Chase Brown type abilities. So you'd love to replicate that. He's a speed guy, boom, but he's not afraid to go, through the middle of a gap. So I think the possibility is there. What I don't know, what I can't tell you is the difference if the Giants suddenly stop running the ball under center, because that's not a Jackson Dart thing. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be different. It's going to be one of those shotgun draw type situations where they ran with Cam Scatterbu. So I'm fascinated. But Tyrone Tracy has the speed and has the ability to certainly be a Chase Brown type player in this league. So I think that's possible. What else I would look for in this game? The last 3 weeks, the drop issues have gone away for tight end Theo Johnson, who is becoming a playmaker for this Giant offense with their lack of wide receivers since Neighbors went down. And of course, as you mentioned, Wan'Dale Robinson has been the do everything guy out of the slot and will probably get a bag of money this offseason from somebody.
I love that we're recording this on Thanksgiving Eve for a Monday night game, as we said before.
Yeah, it feels like it's still a week away.
We don't know.
I know. It's literally next month. It's literally next month.
Yeah. I think about we got 4 games to watch before we even get to Sunday, then a whole Sunday to watch before we even get to Monday. It's crazy.
Okay,
and I don't have to host a post-game show either day, which is great.
With all that into account, should we get into our predictions for this game that is 2,000 light years away?
But side note, it is maybe the best Thanksgiving slate that we've seen.
Especially with Burrow coming back.
Yeah, Burrow will make the night game, a.k.a. the Thanksgiving sandwich, and should I have one more eggnog?
Yep.
A fabulous fall asleep on the sofa affair. I love the fact that Dak and the Cowboys receivers, and that trade they made, Jerry Jones, every now and again, he doesn't get the respect as a GM, obviously a Giants fan is never going to give Jerry Jones or the Cowboys
respect. He caused the whole thing by getting rid of Micah Parsons to begin with.
I know, but he got Quinnen Williams and it still has a first-round draft pick to spend.
Great.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but you still blew up something you didn't have to blow up. Just because you put a Band-Aid over a cut you created doesn't make you a hero.
That's what oil men do all the time. Just
fair enough.
Create messes just so they can collect the insurance. And of course, the first game, Lions-Packers, should be awesome. All right, let's get into those predictions, Mego. Sean, how do you see it shaking out, big guy? And if you feel crazy enough to give us
personal
a score.
before Thanksgiving, by the way. Jeez.
Hey, hold on, easy. Come on. We're all going to have a calorie holocaust in a couple of days, and my stretch pants are hanging up behind somewhere between the Pats poster and the Darth Vader corkboard.
Okay. Oh, that's a hell of a backdrop you have there.
Thank you.
All right. Where do I think this game's going? Look, I'd be an idiot to come on here and wave the Giant flag and pick them to win a game, knowing the fact that the Giants blow all of these games. That being said, I think the Giants are going to win this game Sunday.
There we go.
I do. I think that Jackson Dart, what you guys are going to learn too is we kind of feel like the Patriots of last year in terms of we have a quarterback we think we like, we believe in, and we look at the coaching situation and go, what the hell went wrong? And as you guys can attest, a good coach can take people that maybe you didn't think were as talented, even though you have some talent, and see what happens the next year. So ironically enough, we're looking at you guys for this. Here's the thing. You've mentioned it. Some of the injuries the Pats defense has had. Obviously, your left side of the offensive line right now, which plays into what we think will be the Giants' strength on the defensive front. I do think for at least 1 week, the idea of the energy that Jackson Dart constantly brings when he plays. This is an offense now you're never worried about trying to find a way to score points.
Kid's a whole lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think a defense that probably for a lot of really talented guys is going to look around and go, the defensive coordinator who they obviously hated got fired. I can't imagine they dislike the guy that was promoted because it kind of came out of nowhere as to why he was promoted. And I think they play hard for him. Now, playing hard doesn't always equate to a win, but this is more of a gut feeling. I kind of think you guys are just due to lose a game here, too. You know what I mean? Like from the outside looking in, are the Patriots really going 15-2 or, 14 or whatever, 13-4, whatever the hell the records are at this point? Are they? Are you guys not going to lose 2 more games the rest of the year?
Vegas has roller coastered and yo-yoed all season long. It was like 8.5, 7.5 after they lost to the Raiders. And they win a few and it's back up to 8.5, 9.5. And now we've been talking on EEI that like the floor is 12.5.
So here exactly. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to wake up Tuesday morning to all the talk figurehead shows talking about the future of the league being Drake Maye and Jackson Dart. I think they're going to put on a good show, go back and forth. And I just think the Giants are due for some luck where they're the team that touches the ball last in the fourth quarter and has one of these moments. And I think they win on like a Younghoe Koo field goal late where you're like, what the hell just happened? And the Giants win a game like 31-28. That is where I think this is going to go. And I know it doesn't make sense. And you're probably screaming homer. Believe me, I hate my team right now. But it's just kind of where my gut is telling me right now if Dart comes back with everything that's happened here with the firings and just playing the odds of the Patriots are due to lose one of these games.
So I hear what you're saying. And I kind of agree with your track of thinking where I think this is going to be a much more difficult game for the Patriots than maybe a lot of Patriots fans are expecting.
Megan, we're in every game with these teams.
I know. But also, like, we have watched week after week, especially the last 2 games that the Patriots have played with the Jets and Cincinnati, where you walk into those games thinking like, okay, well, Thursday Night Football, anything can happen. But Cincinnati, that should be a game where the Patriots go in and
it's the worst defense of all time. And it was a nail biter down to the end. They kept Cincy in that game all way.
At the same time, I think this is a game that goes into overtime, which is going to be upsetting for me in the press box for Monday Night Football because I'll probably be there until 4 in the morning. I think it will. And then it could be anybody's game. But because the Patriots in these close games figure out ways to win, whereas the Giants are in these close games and figure out ways to lose, I'm going to give the edge to the Patriots in overtime. So I'm going to go 27-24.
Can't fault you for that.
Oh, my. You got to be kidding me, Mego. I'm with you, Sean. I'm with both of you, actually, on this one. Nice little football throuple we formed here. In that, like, the rest of the league, like, good morning, get up on ESPN. It's going to be all about Jackson Dart and Drake Maye, the future of the league under center in Foxborough, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like what you said, Mego, and again, there's the house money factor, Sean. Like this 2-10 team, a bunch of guys auditioning for jobs, Shane doing everything under the sun to make sure he holds on to his job, if that's even possible. But like what you said, Mego, the Patriots have been we find a way to win these games team, and the Giants have been the somehow we're able to pull defeat out of the jaws of victory team. So I have it going the same way. It's super close all the way through. Giants are up 23-20. Drake Maye leads a touchdown drive late in the fourth quarter. Foxborough rejoices. Jackson Dart stresses him out. It doesn't end on a Hail Mary. Somehow, some way, somebody gets to the quarterback. There's a strip sack late. Patriots 27, Giants 23. And the first win, the first win of December goes to Drake Maye over the Giants on Monday Night Football, and the giant exhale of relief for Pats Nation. Although if they drop this game, if they're going to drop one or two the rest of the way, you'd rather they drop this one as opposed to one in the AFC. Exactly.
And look, another thing gives me confidence is the Giants own the Patriots, so we just always know that.
All right, please, come on now. Look, we wouldn't appreciate, the other 6 Super Bowls as much if we didn't have the inconvenience of
course.
If anytime you say
the Giants, your podcast is named something else, right? So
true. It could be named. You know what? We've actually had to start thinking for the longest time. The joke was, but 6 rings and football things, that title won't be changing anytime soon. Well, never know.
Yep. Maybe one day if we get our act together, we will see you again there. Maybe one day.
Exactly. You can give him a follow at Sean Morash. ShaunMorash. And of course, he's on the Evan and Tiki show in the afternoons. You can listen to that on the Odyssey app, just like you can WEEI afternoons as well. Sean, what's that Thanksgiving looking like for you?
What's it looking like? I'm going to play several parlays, have my kids make a bunch of paper hats and ask me that they look cute. And I'm just going to bury my face in food until probably halftime of the Bengal game, to which I will have my wife yell at me because the bedroom stinks. And that's pretty much what's going to happen. So that's the plan.
It's like you're
Sorry,
looking
Megan,
inside.
that's life.
It's like you're looking inside.
It's like a Norman Rockwell painting.
All right. Enjoy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for joining us. Mego, have a great Thanksgiving. Sean, you as well. This has been 6 Rings and Football Things with Sean Morash from Evan and Tiki at WFAN, and of course, the One Giant Step podcast. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. We will be back. I'll be on the postgame show Monday night after Giants at Pats. Should be a great time as always. Good day. God bless. Subscribe to all the podcasts. Take care of you and yours. If you